Hi students, I'm going to do a trimming demo with a very dry pot. Ideally it'll be at leather hard stage, meaning it hasn't completely changed to this dry color. It's still a tiny bit squishy, but very hard to alter. So that's ideally, but that's okay if it becomes very dry. So before we do anything, the point of trimming is for our walls to be the same thickness from the bottom to the top. So before you do anything, you can take your hands and kind of as pinchers, feel how much extra clay you have on the bottom or where else in your pot you might want to trim away some of that extra clay. So I definitely have, you can see this little rim on the bottom I want to trim off. My pot actually feels pretty similar throughout, so I might just have to do a little bit here at the bottom. But again, some techniques for having a very dry pot. First thing you're going to do, if it's completely changed colors, is dip. You're going to have your water bin and your tool bin in a little bit of clay. You'll dip your pot into your water to add some moisture. So when we begin trimming, the first step is centering, just like when you're throwing. You can use the rings on your bat to try to get as close to center as possible. So let's see, let's try this. Next, you're going to take your needle tool, this pointy little guy, and I'm holding it firmly with both my hands, and it's coming straight out from my belly button. So I'm going to get the wheel going very, very slowly. I'm going to slowly inch, like even centimeter, towards my pot. And once my needle tool starts nicking my pot, I'll stop. I'll show you guys. So I'm letting the needle tool hit right around where I'm about to trim, okay? So near the bottom of your pot. If it's where it's nicking with your needle tool, that means it's too close to you. That means you'll have where the scratches are facing you, and you'll push slightly just away from you. That is reaching it more towards center. So I'm going to go ahead and center my pot, and then we'll get going. Okay, my pot is pretty close to centered, so meaning that my needle tool is hitting evenly all the way around near the bottom where I'm trimming. Next, I'm going to take some fresh clay and make 4 little rolling balls like this. I'm going to use them to kind of create a barrier so my pot stays on the bat and doesn't fly around town. Okay, so I got my barriers on, and throughout the trimming process, when your pot is really dry, you can continuously take your sponge, squeeze out some moisture, and add some moisture to the bottom where we're going to be trimming. This will make it much easier. So you have your trimming tools that look like this, weird dinosaur egg looking thing called a loop tool, and then this triangle one. I always start with the bigger one. So how I hold this tool is I firmly am grabbing it with my right hand. I'm working at about 3 o'clock, so I'm firmly grabbing like this with the point facing upward. So here we go, like this. I'm taking my left hand, this is going to be my support hand. I'm taking my little pinchers like this, my pointer and my thumb, and I'm almost pinching and supporting the top of that egg shape. I now have support with my left, sturdy right, and I'm pitching the top of that egg at about a 45-degree angle. We'll be changing our angle depending on how you're trimming. So with my remaining 3 fingers in my left hand that are free, I'm just ever so slightly resting them on my pot. This is again for stability and making sure we don't want this tool to be moving at all. We want the pot to be gliding through our tool as we're going. So I get, for trimming speed, you're going slow to medium. It's kind of hard to control on an electric, that's why I'm testing myself here. So again, using this hand to support, my elbows are in, same position as if you were throwing. I'm at a 45-degree angle, and I'm using the very edge of this tool, these sharp edges. Start trimming away that extra I had, that little lip I had at the bottom. I'm applying not too much pressure. I'm kind of gauging. Sometimes it feels like my pot might get like caught in this loop tool, so then I release pressure slowly. I'm going to add a little more moisture with my sponge. Firm grip, finding that angle that works with the curve of my pot. And I'm trimming away that extra. You can also, again, I don't have too much to trim on this specific pot, which is okay. You can also use this one if it feels more comfortable. I'm also, notice that my hands are talking to each other and they're connected. My whole body is kind of in line to help stabilize. So there we have it. I trimmed away what I needed to on this specific pot. It worked pretty nicely even though it was all the way dried out. At this point, you'll make your potter's mark on the bottom, and if you're all done altering, then you can leave it uncovered to dry out completely.